Oh, it's starting.
Yeah.
I am now live. Sweet. Okay.
Yeah, we're trying a new podcast, not a software platform.
Platform, yeah.
Yeah, so
Riverside.fm. If anybody has used that before. So yeah, this is our first time using it, and it's our first time going live with it on Facebook. So be kind.
please. I mean, this is the Imperfect Moms Club. Like
Yeah, it's pretty on brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today's topic is moving with kids because we moved back to San Antonio, and so we are in a brand new house. And there's still boxes. I'm actually literally my laptop is sitting on my laundry basket that's flipped over, and I set up this like makeshift background, which I don't know. I was like Lily won't mind, so I just stole some of her toys. But yeah. So moving with kids, it's been like a little less than 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we closed on the house on the 13th and we moved in. I came down with the girls on the 17th, and then 18th is when Paul joined us.
Time, like when you move, time like doesn't mean anything anymore. You know, I remember when we moved here trying to unpack, I was like, okay, I have to get the kitchen usable, and then I have to get the girls' room usable, and everything else, like it'll happen when it happens. But those two things, I'm like, I have got to get these two things done. And then I remember like just sitting on the couch and being like, what day is it? Is it Thursday? Is it Sunday? Is it Tuesday? I don't even know what day of the week it is. Everyone has like unopened boxes. Like I'm pretty sure there's still a box that I haven't opened from when we moved here 3 years ago. So
yeah, I wonder how long it's going to take us to completely empty all of the boxes. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I was scrambling for a minute because I was like, where's my microphone? And where's my, like, whatever? Like, I was like, oh, I had to look through a bunch of boxes and in a bunch of rooms. And I'm in the guest room right now. And it's on the second floor. We have 2 floors now. We fancy.
Ooh, you have stairs.
But yeah, so Holly and Lily are napping, but I'm 100% sure that Lily's gonna just run on in here, like in the middle of this, and just be like, "Hey, mommy, I want all the things," and so that'll be good. Well, first, so I kind of want to like vent about the move a little bit because it's been interesting, and I've never moved with kids before,
Mm-hmm.
and so I know you have, and so it'll be interesting to all share my experience, and you can be like, oh man, yeah. And then I've got, they're not really, I wouldn't call them tips because they're just things, like random things that I did, but I figured out how to like make Lily not like all up in my business all the time because but at the same time, like she's really clingy right now because she's gonna be 3. So I've been also dealing with daily tantrums, so that's really fun. I love getting yelled at all day. I get yelled at by my 3-year-old, and then my 1-year-old also yells at me. She has this grunt scream thing that like I figured she would have gotten over that after the newborn phase, but no, that's nope. So
I worked
anyway.
in a daycare, and we had babies, and I was the one in the baby room. And I think I was only allowed to have 4 babies because I was one person. So I had 4 or 5. I'm pretty sure it was 4. But there would be times when all the babies would be screaming their heads off. And I just had to teach myself how to go into like a zone. I felt like a Jedi.
Yeah.
Like I tuned them out enough that I wasn't going to start crying myself, but I had to be tuned in just enough that like if someone was like hurt, I could tell. So I had to like be in a zone. And sometimes other teachers and daycare workers would pop in and be like, are you okay? And I'd be like, yes, but I can't talk right now. And then I would tell them later, I'm like, listen, if they're all screaming and I need help, I promise I will come and get you. But if you pop in there and I look like I'm being rude to you, I promise I'm not. I just need to be in the zone or else I will cry and run out of here. So but it's hard. It's really hard. And it's just like, it just gnaws at you. It's like nails on the
Yeah.
chalkboard. Oh, it's hard.
Yeah. Something that I wasn't. So as far as like moving goes, I was like, okay, like the first things first, like I need to make sure that their rooms are set up. I need to make sure all that. But I wasn't, I guess I should have thought of this. I feel stupid, but I was like, I wasn't thinking about the, like, we're in a completely new place. What is this aspect? And so Lily just like broke my heart the other day because she was like, but I want to go home.
Oh,
And, and I was like, but we are. And I
yeah.
had to like steady myself, and I was like, oh shit, like,
Mm-hmm.
like, so my heart broke, it like shattered. And then she twisted the knife because she was like, no, like our home, like our family home, like mommy and daddy's home.
Oh, that's
Like,
hard because that's all she's known, right?
yeah, like that's all I mean, that was the house, so we brought her home, like a lot of things. And then I didn't think that I'd also be sad because it's like a new house and stuff. And like that house has every single baby memory because we were just a newly engaged couple when we left
Mm-hmm.
4 years ago. And so now, like, so I was like, oh crap. And then I was really sad. And then, we're still getting over the whole noodle thing. Like we had to put our cat down.
That's right.
And so, yeah, and so there's like a lot of things going on. And so she's been acting like a cat a lot.
Oh,
And so I think that's like how she's kind of dealing with it, which is like fine. Everybody like grieves and deals in their own way. And so, I'll call her Kitty Lily sometimes because I recognize like she has a voice and stuff. And,
mm-hmm.
but yeah, she's been dealing with that plus the move. And so I'm like, oh my God. I feel so bad. Like, mommy just wanted a bigger house and mommy wanted to be like with family, and I needed a better support system,
Yeah. Yeah.
But
These are all things like she doesn't understand yet. Moving
yeah,
is always hard no matter what, but especially for her. Like, she doesn't understand the bigger picture because Lily's
yeah,
world is you and Paul. Oh yeah, and there's a baby too. so like that's Lily's world. So, but she doesn't understand like mommy and daddy also have a world, and you need your
yeah,
support. And you know what? Sometimes we just move, and that transition time, like it's hard. Our girls had a hard time. I remember Clara having she didn't used to scream and have these massive tantrums, but she did like the first 2 months or so that we were here. And
mm-hmm.
I didn't even know what to do, but I was like, you know what? We just moved. This is totally new. So yes, I'm going to deal with it. And I'm not going to be like, oh, it's okay. You can scream at me. Like, no, we're not going to scream and
Yeah,
yell at mommy and throw stuff. But at the same time, I had like empathy,
yeah,
and I understood more, and I felt like it was almost like a consoling and redirecting type of situation. It wasn't just you're being bad. It was like, okay, I understand. Like, everything's different now, and we do things a little bit differently here, and you're not seeing the same friends anymore. But yeah, it was those first 2 months though. I was just like totally lost because I didn't know anybody, and I was like, oh my word, like
yeah.
my life is falling apart.
No. Yeah, it's a little easier on me just because we moved back somewhere where we lived before. So, like, I have, like, my mom and stuff. But, yeah, so I started thinking because she was really struggling for, like, there were 2 days where she was just, like, really not having it. And I was like, wait, but I thought that it would be easier the younger she was because she doesn't, like, have new friends and stuff. But, like, maybe I should have waited until she was older. Like, I don't know. But I think it still is better
Mm-hmm.
now versus like when she was old enough to like have friends, because then
Yeah.
we'd have to deal with her like leaving friends and stuff. But I mean, not just talking about the emotional stuff, but like let's just talk about like mommy and daddy are trying to unpack, and then
Mm-hmm.
Lily's like in the way trying to like open boxes and oh what's that, what's in there and stuff, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, like
Yeah. And like
so
you don't want them hurting themselves either because like boxes are stacked on top of each other,
yeah.
and like maybe she finds the box of kitchen knives and you're like, "Oh, please don't open that."
Yeah. No, there were a few times where I was like, "Oh God, oh my God, let's not," And then like the little one, Holly, she's crawling around, and so we like lose track of her now
Oh
because we don't
no.
know, because it's not just our house, so it's like an older house, so it's not the one big room open floor plan houses, which I used to like, but I really like that there's like separate rooms for stuff. But yeah, so we like lose Holly all the time now. Like, we're like, where's Holly? Like, she's so little and she just crawls around. And then like we found her in the dining room with like a bunch of boxes, and she's like ripping tape and trying to eat it. And I'm like,
Oh no.
oh no. I'm like, don't do that. Man, it's been interesting. But I don't know, having to like we have to get stuff done, but then I also have to be mom, and so like it's been hard for me to like Paul's kind of taking the brunt of like cleaning stuff up and unpacking boxes, but at the same time I love doing that. Like that's something that like brings me joy. So I'm like, but can I help you? And he's like, you have to watch the girls, and I'm like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like pouting
like,
because I'm like, but I don't.
For things like my bedroom or my kitchen, I like picking out, we're like, ooh, we're going to put the lamp over here, or like, oh, we're going to put the little thing over there. And it's just like, sorry, like we never get out of that dollhouse phase. You know, I think that's why we like Pinterest so much, because we're like, ooh, we could do this and we could do this. And we like moving the little furnitures around and the rugs and everything. And yeah, there would be times where I had to be like, Mike, I just need you to take the girls for 1 hour, and I don't care where you go. You can go get ice cream. You can go to the park. I don't care, but just leave. Give me an hour of peace so I can just get stuff done. Yeah, because it's really hard to unpack with little ones running around.
Yep. Yeah. So Holly is crawling and we lose her, and I don't want her eating cardboard. But then like Lily she's just so curious. She wants to know what's in every box. She wants to play with everything. And then Paul is just putting stuff away in the kitchen, my kitchen, and you know, and all of a sudden now I have things in drawers that don't make a whole lot of sense,
right.
But I can deal. I think, you know, it's fine, I guess.
You can always like just kind of rearrange it and be like, oh, what if we try this?
The one biggest tip that I have though that so when we were moving, we hired full service movers. So that was like, oh, like thank God we did that, because I was freaking out. Like the week before we left, I started like hyperventilating because I was like, how are we supposed to pack up this entire house of stuff, like with Lily, because she's gonna be like, I want to play with that, I want to play with that, I want to play with that. So I had to like, I looked at Paul and I was like, I know it's going to be more expensive, but like we need other people to pack.
Yeah. Also, we might still be married by the end of this if we get movers.
Yeah. So we definitely would have like had to talk to some attorneys had we not.
Like let's think about it. We can either pay for therapy later and counseling, or maybe a lawyer, or we could just pay for the mover.
So, so it was good because they came on the 17th of May, and then I took the girls to my mom's. So we drove to San Antonio the day before, and so Paul stayed at the movers at the house, and so it's just him and the movers. Lily wasn't in anyone's way, like it was great, and then we stayed at my mom's and stuff. So that made it a lot easier. So if you can afford it,
yes,
or even if you like have to scrounge to afford it, which I mean, it was a little dicey, but just do it. If you have small children and you have to move, do not put that stress on yourself.
My brother was a professional mover. Ooh. And he I don't know how he got this gig, but he would move people who were like really rich people. And they would move at the weirdest times. He would like get a call at 3 a.m. that he needed to be at some guy's house by 4 a.m. to move them out. It was really weird, but he got very good at like putting boxes in things into moving trucks. So now when we do move, like, or when his friends move, they're like, hey, Nathan, can you come over? Because he knows like,
that's so nice.
Yeah. Like he knows how to like put the couch in there and like how to like, I don't know, the weight distribution and stuff. And so that's kind of handy to have. Oh, we have a child. Hello? You want to come say hi? Oh, we have a grouchy one. Okay. Whoa, hold on. Just a minute. Let me turn the camera back. Anyway, so that was nice to have. But, I mean, that would be nice if you could just be like, here's a check. Go pack up my entire house, and I'm going to Starbucks.
Yeah, I mean, so I was nervous about the road trip by myself with both girls, but luckily they were both angels like the entire time. Like we stopped at Buc-ee's, which is I've talked about with you before, that like big gas station or thing that's have this really good bathrooms. They have like billboards that are like, hold your pee until you get here. I
Hey,
mean,
you.
maybe different wording, but yeah, basically, essentially the same thing. But yeah, and then so we got there and I bought her like a stuffed animal and snacks because I was like, "You're
Oh.
being so great." She went to her last day of preschool and then I picked her up. And before I picked her up, I was like, "We're about to do a road trip." So I stopped at Walgreens and I was like, I bought her 3 new books. I
Mm-hmm.
bought her a bunch of snacks and then I made sure that I set up our iPad to like have her game already on there and everything was set up next to her car seat and I was like, "Okay." So I picked her up and I was like, "Lily, look what I got for you." And she was like so excited. And then I think that that really helped. I think that
Yes.
setting it up was good because had I not set it up, I think she would have been like, "I want, stuff." So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like, look, this
anyway,
is gonna be fun. Here's some treats. Here's some things we don't normally
yeah,
get to do. Like we do
yeah,
that. She's like yanking on my headphones. We do that. I'll get them Lunchables, and yeah, the tablets are a must. You gotta have good tablets.
yeah.
Um, I've learned. I think I've mentioned it before. I have to have earphones in while we're doing road trips because both tablets are going off in the car at the same time.
Oh,
And like
yeah.
one's playing Barbie and one's playing Curious George, and I'm like, okay, I cannot take 4 hours of
So
this.
I've thought of doing that too, but like, is it weird while driving? Because
It is a
I feel
little
like it'd be
weird.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, because and what I tend to do is I'll just have one earbud in. Well, I just got back from a trip. We'll do another road trip episode. We did one last year. I think we'll pick up another one sometime. But I just got back
Yeah.
from a trip last night, so she's been really clingy. She's
Oh.
like, "I am not letting you out of my sight."
Oh.
Like,
Do you have any like tips for people? Because my
yeah,
big, I mean, my only tip was it wasn't even, it was just hire, hey, like
yeah.
have money or like save up money and get the full service movers.
So
Do you have any?
some things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're all kind of jumbled, but one thing that I remember doing every time we've moved is whenever I'm out running errands with the kids, like we're going to Walmart or the grocery store, even like the dollar store, I always stop and ask the person if they have boxes in the back because I
Oh yeah.
hate paying for cardboard boxes when I know all of the stores have cardboard boxes that they just throw out. So I always find like the person who's
That's
stocking the
smart.
shelves and I'm like, hey, like I'm gonna be moving. Can I have some boxes? And then they're always like,
That's
yeah,
really
sure.
smart. I never thought of that. That's really smart. I'm
Yeah,
gonna write
and
that down.
and at first I might get a funny look, but I'm like, no, I'm moving. So I'll take any boxes that you have, even if they're already broken down. I can easily tape them back together. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
And I love going to the grocery store and getting their banana boxes. They always have banana boxes, and those have handles on them. You can
Ooh.
sometimes get your hands on the like wine boxes if you have like your glassware, like you don't want that to break. So and those
Hmm.
boxes are like really good. What other boxes have I done? I this is a little questionable, but it was for a very short period that I needed these boxes. The only boxes I could get my hands on this one time was from the meat department. So it was a little like, oh, okay. And I checked them and there wasn't like any fluids.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah, but they were really strong, really sturdy because if you think on
Oh,
how
that's
many
good.
pounds of meat they put in those boxes, they don't want them to
Yeah.
rip apart. So we've done that. We've used like laundry baskets to move like those last minute things. Like you always have to have your coffee maker like that. You don't pack your coffee maker 2 weeks before you move. You pack that like the
Yeah.
morning of. So like stuff
Yeah.
like that, I would put in a laundry basket. Stuff I knew I would
Yeah, I
need.
used all the stuff that I have, like my laundry basket.
Yeah.
We have like this other tiny basket. Like I'll use like a diaper caddy, like anything that like has a anything you can put stuff in.
Yes,
Like I use.
anything. If I had like mason jars, I would stuff like napkins in my like mason, not napkins, like washcloths.
Yeah.
Like everything was stuffed into everything else, and stuffed
Yeah.
animals were like my bubble wrap. Um, especially for like a
Oh,
box.
cool.
Yeah, like I had a box I was putting my KitchenAid in, and that thing is heavy, but there was still like all this space. So I shoved a bunch of like kids' clothes and jackets and stuffed animals in there to help like keep it from getting crushed, but also not making it crazy heavy. Oh, here's a tip. If you're traveling, if you have a baby, like you need a crib or toddler bed, and you have to have the little like, it's like an L-shaped little like hooky thing. I can't remember what it's called. I'm gonna kick
I
myself
think
later.
it's called an L wrench or something.
Yeah, one of those little wrench thingies, and there's like 20 different sizes. Why can't they be universal? I don't know. But you have to have like this one specific sized wrench to put your crib back together because they can't use normal screws. That would be too easy. Hello. Just so what you do is you take that, and I don't know how much audio this is going to pick up. I hope it's not too bad. You use like packaging tape, and you just tape it right to one of the pieces of wood from the crib or from the bed.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
So then
cool. Yeah,
when
that's
it's time
smart.
to put Susie down for bed, you're not like scrambling around like, where the heck is the screwdriver or the thing? It's already like, it's already taped right to it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. See, I would have been the person like scrambling. Luckily, you know, since we had full service movers, like they took care of all that. But yeah. So next time we move, I don't know. The girls will be older, so I'll probably, I don't know if we're gonna hire full service movers again. I might. We almost did it ourselves.
Yeah.
But I know myself, and I was like, I'm just gonna pull all my hair out or cry or something. So like, you know, mommy doesn't want to have a tantrum.
Right.
So
well, and like if you have little kids, and like if you're like a really hands-on person like I am, I want to be right in there like helping move things. Like I'm not controlling by any means. I just want to be able to help and be in there and make sure everyone's okay and everyone's got water and pizza and stuff like that. If you can get a babysitter for like 2 hours, 3 hours, lifesaver.
Oh yeah.
Or if they can like spend the weekend with grandma, like depending on like the distance. Oh, it's such a lifesaver. I even when we came here, I didn't like know everybody, but I knew one teenage girl, and I was like, "Can you just come and like take them to like the playground, like because we live really close to a playground? Can you just like take them over there and like
nice?"
So that was really helpful because then I could help direct and show people where things were going.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Yeah, my mom, so like the day after, so the 18th, the day that Paul was driving down and we were actually like moving into our house officially, my mom left to go to France because my mom's still trying to deal with my grandparents' house and getting all of that. So yeah, she wasn't here. And I didn't realize that like it would have been super nice if she had been here. Like she was telling me, she was like, you don't want to like hold off a week to like I'll be there, I'll be able to help. And I was like, no, we have to go now. Like, cause I was like, I was in Dallas and I was like, I am done being alone. Like, I'm done being alone. I'm done. My mental health is in the toilet right now. So I need to be in San Antonio yesterday. So like I pushed and finally like we left. But then now I'm like, in hindsight, it would have been really cool if like Mimi could have been here because then we could have unpacked stuff and not had, you know, I had to constantly be distracting Lily and things like that. Plus the TV, we didn't get the TV set up with like the streaming and stuff, and so Lily was without, you know,
she's
the normal like comforts.
Blippi and Bluey and
Yep, Blippi. We didn't have Blippi, which was so sad. Oh my god, I was so sad. Those few days without Blippi were like the worst days of my life.
I roll.
Yeah.
You know, if you could have been like, you know what? They don't have Blippi here. Like that's just...
She would have been more sad. She would have been like, but they have it in my house.
I don't even have that. When Clara was, I think she was 2, almost 3, or maybe she wasn't even 2 yet. She was little, and we were moving, and I remember we didn't have that much help, and I didn't have anyone to watch her. I put her outside in the front yard because we had it was a distance between her and the road, so I knew like I didn't have to worry about that. And I just gave her like a bucket of like soapy water, and like I put her in her swimsuit, and I'm like, here. And like people were like in and out of the house. So I didn't feel like I had to sit there and like hover over her because someone was in and out like every 3 seconds anyway. And like
Yeah.
they'd see her and like, oh, you're so cute. So I was like, she's fine. Um, but yeah, I did that, and that kept her entertained. And she just sat there and played with bubbles for like 2 hours. It was awesome.
Yeah. So basically, what I've been doing with Lily is just like making random games out of random stuff that I find in boxes. And like a few days ago, I was looking through one of the boxes and I found, so when I was pregnant with Lily and we had my baby shower, one of my baby shower games was like my water broke or something. And it was like, I got it on Amazon. It's just a bunch of like little plastic baby figurines. And you
Yeah.
freeze them, and then you put an ice cube in everybody's drink, and then, as they melt, you gotta yell like, my water broke or whatever. So I totally forgot that we still had it. And so I'm like opening boxes and I just see like this gigantic Ziploc bag full of like these tiny plastic babies. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And then I remembered and I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh my God, Lily would love this. And so I just filled a big bowl of water and I put, I put some water in like a bunch of like, we still had paper cups from the baby shower too, because for like, it's been 3 years now, but for some reason we still had them. So I was like, okay, we'll use these. So I filled those with water, put a couple babies in each one, and then I froze them overnight. And so the next day I was like, Lily, I have a fun game. And so that was entertaining. And she loves playing with water. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just anything I can do. Like the floor was lava game. Like I've just been pulling stuff out of my butt. Like I'm like, this is a game. Let's play this. And like, since she's 2, she's like, everything is exciting. So as long as I'm like, oh my God, look at this. She's like, oh, wow. Like, it's a little, it's strange. There's like a big bowl of like little plastic babies now. So every time we have guests over, like they see it and they're like, interesting decoration. And I'm just like, oh yeah. Yep.
I
You know,
feel like I don't know. I've been to lots of friends' houses who have kids, and nothing really shocks me anymore. Like I might get a double take, and I'm like, is that really what I'm looking at right now? But then I'm like, oh yeah, well, I'm sure there's a story behind this.
yeah, the only guests we've had so far are people that aren't moms. And so like I had my
Oh.
friend Hillary over and she was like, she looked at it and she just like paused with this look on her face. And so I explained and she was like, I was gonna wait for the explanation.
Yeah.
I figured I needed context.
No, like you haven't seen this new trend. It's like I saw it on Good Morning America or
Yeah,
whatever.
like totally. You must not be in on the trends like
Mm-hmm.
us cool kids are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But Lily loved them. She was like, "Oh, my babies want to take a bath," and so I was able to just like plop her down with a big bowl of water and just something that really pissed me off was, so this is like, our other house, we built it, so it was brand new, everything was super clean because it was brand new and whatever. This one, so the sellers, they didn't clean it like at all,
Oh, I hate when
and
people do that.
so they didn't clean it. So we walked in and it was disgusting. And I was like, so the girls literally, so this is really gross, but it's not me being gross, it's the previous owner, so I don't have to feel bad. But Lily's feet were black for like from like walking around like
Yeah.
for several days, and so I was like tired of giving her baths every single like 5 seconds, but it was
Mm-hmm.
gross. And so we had to we paid for someone to come in, a team to come in and deep clean it, and then we paid for Stanley Steamer to come, and so they steamed all the carpets because there's a lot of carpet. And then they even did the tile too, which I didn't know that Stanley Steamer could do other types of flooring, but
Mm-hmm.
they deep cleaned the tile. It is hilarious how much cleaner this house is now.
Yeah.
But like I finally like I'm like, oh, like our tile in the kitchen. I was like, I didn't know this tile was like white.
It was
It's like
like
white.
gray.
There was so much grime, and like the grout was like really dark, and now the
Mm-hmm.
grout is like gray. And I'm like, oh my God, it feels so much better in here. I don't feel gross. I feel like it kind of made me feel better like mentally. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, it's clean. Yeah,
Yeah.
the previous owners had 2 big dogs, and the thing that really pissed me off was they lied. Because we texted our real estate agent. We're like, hey, it was gross in here. We had to pay for all this stuff. Is there any way that we could ask the sellers to help us out or something? And so she screenshot like the text that I sent her and sent it to the sellers because she was just as outraged as me. And they
Mm-hmm.
were like, "Oh yeah, no, we did deep clean it. We deep cleaned it before we left, and we had Stanley Steamer come too. And then we paid $550 for our people to come deep clean. Like, so I'd mentioned in the text that we paid $500 for the deep cleaning,
Mm-hmm.
and so like that was such a keeping up with the Joneses number. Like I was like,
Yes.
you just saw Stanley Steamer in 500, and you were like, oh yeah, but we paid 550. Like that's
Yeah.
such a BS
Yeah.
thing. And so I was so pissed. Like I was like, look, don't lie,
Right.
right?
Just.
Especially the agent. Like the agent shouldn't have been like, we respectfully declined because they did
Mm-hmm.
clean. Like no, you didn't. Like why are my crawling 1-year-old's knees black, and why
Mm-hmm.
are my toddler's feet black? Like this is not acceptable. And then the deep cleaner that came in, she was like rubbing one of the tiles, and she said, "I think you have fleas." And I have small children, so I was like, emergency. So I had
Yeah.
to like call a pest control person. They came. We don't have fleas.
Okay. Good. Good.
It was like something else or whatever, but I was like, what the fuck? And I
Yeah.
was about to I was like, Mama Bear's gonna like kill them because we have
Mm-hmm.
small children and like fleas. Like that's not okay. And then Holly's had this rash, which is unrelated, but like I thought it was like flea bites, and I was like, what the hell? Like I was
Yeah.
so mad. But yeah. So if you move out of a house, just common courtesy,
Yes.
clean it.
Yeah. I feel
Clean
like
it.
when we were selling our house, we did like, I looked around and I tried to look at it as a buyer. And I'm like, okay, well, there's a
Mhm.
scuff mark here. This trim has always been wonky. We need to fix it finally. And this stairwell holder thingy is
Yeah.
loose. We need to fix that. So I did all of those things. And then when we moved, like part of it was I had people coming to help me make sure all the rooms were swept and like the windows were clean. And I mean, I did the best I could. If we scuffed any of the walls getting furniture out, I had the paint, and I would quickly like do a little spot and make sure the paint was
Oh,
good.
cool.
And then I also, because I've heard of horror stories like that, I took pictures of every single room at all different angles, just in case because we also had a buyer that fell through, who was kind of being a
Yeah.
jerk and was saying stuff that we did that we didn't
No.
do, and I was like, like I didn't do this. So I took pictures of every single room, and I took pictures of the outside, just so that if for some reason the buyers came in and like accused us of, I don't know, putting a hole in the wall or something, or like the floor was ripped up. I don't know. I had pictures to show like this is what it looked like when I left the house. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's just common courtesy. Is like, come on, just vacuum. Like I know you're tired.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot to move. Like I get it, but you want to go to a clean house too. Like
Yeah.
this is what we humans should all do for each other.
And especially like this house is like 20 years old. And so it was built in '03, I think, or '02 or '03. And so like it felt like there was like 20 years worth of grime.
Mm,
Like they were just like dirty people maybe or something, but like it was just like
yeah.
I'm already like super depressed. I've been like super stressed out. Like my depression's really high right now. But then especially in like the house being dirty and my kids are dirty and
Mm-hmm.
I feel dirty and like I'm just like this is a mistake. And then Paul was like, Lisa, don't say that. Like, I paid a lot of money for this, like, nice house.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I was trying to keep a lid on it, but I was, like, crawling out of my skin at the same time. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's been, especially since I feel like my mental health stuff, I've become kind of compulsive about, like, cleaning and scrubbing and stuff. And so
Mm-hmm.
like, I was looking at everything and I was like, I just want to take, like, a scrub brush and just, like, scrub every single tile. And Paul was like, Lisa, like, your arm's gonna fall off.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of tiles in here. And I'm like, but it's so dirty. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. But yeah, so just don't do that. Or, I mean, if you really can't, if you really don't want to, don't lie about it.
Right. Just, just own, like, okay, people need to own it when when they make mistakes. Everyone likes to have this like zero consequences lifestyle,
Yeah.
and we can't live that way. So, I mean, I don't know, like the whole idea of the imperfect moms club, like yes, like we're very much imperfect. We mess up, we goof up, but we see the mistake if there's a mistake and we're like, okay, we can fix this, we can do better next
Yeah.
time, and we're also not like beating ourselves up because we're not perfect every single day, because that's not going
Yeah.
to happen. But part of this is to kind of look at everything from different angles and be like, all right, I'm struggling here. This isn't working. What can we do to make our lives better, our lives happier, and all that? It's like we all mess up, we all goof up, but there are consequences to your actions, and we just need to
Yeah.
grow up and own it. And you know what? It's really not that big a deal to own your mistakes. Like we think it's this horrible thing and like your life is
Yeah.
over if you admit that you messed up, but it's really not. Like just own it and say, yeah, you're right. I goofed up. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that thing. I was late on this work assignment. I goofed up. I won't.
Yeah.
I'll learn from this experience, and hopefully next time this won't happen. Like just own your mistakes, people. Just own it.
Yeah. Anyway, but like
That sums it
that
up.
being,
That sums up the entire episode.
yeah, moving with kids. But like, I mean, it's already tough enough moving with small children, but then moving into like a dirty house with small children, like that was extra difficult. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, moving with kids is tough, but I think it was a good idea to move now instead of wait until they're like school age and have friends and stuff. And it's just, I mean, it was still hard because Lily still had that, like, I want to go home. But I mean, I feel like it would have been way worse. The only reason it was bad, you know, being with her being this little is she doesn't understand to like, she can't just go and get into everything and whatever,
Right.
you know. So for that aspect, I was like, man, I wish she was a little bit older. But I'm still glad that she's as young as she is, because then, you know, she would have been really mad if she had to leave friends behind. And she's going to be starting her new school on Tuesday.
Oh, I am so
And
excited for this new
I'm so excited.
school.
We're going to have to do like a whole, like a segment of just me talking about our first day, because I'm like so
Yes.
excited. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's just an adjustment period right now. You know, and Holly, she crawls really fast now, and so like she sees tape, and I'm just like, well, and plus stairs. So that's another thing is like, I was like, so Holly's not standing yet, she's not walking yet, she still doesn't really put weight on her legs. And so I'm like, her room's upstairs, like I'm gonna be working out every day, like carrying this girl up and down the stairs. It's gonna
Yeah.
be,
You're gonna
it's
be
gonna be
like, they call
buff
it buff.
mommy.
Yeah. Like
Imperfect buff moms club. But at the same time, like I haven't been eating because depression, so like I'm losing muscle too. So now I like walk up the stairs and I'm like,
yeah. So
you,
tired.
you should have seen me. So I was running up and down the stairs trying to get things set up for this recording, and my Paul's friend is over to see the new house, and I ran back downstairs and I'm like panting. And Paul's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "So the funny thing about not eating food is that everything is tiring now. Like everything is exhausting. Going up the stairs twice, dead.
Yep.
Just I'm dead." But we have a really nice grocery store. We have HEB, which
Never heard of that.
it's amazing. It's amazing. And we didn't have one where we lived in Dallas, and they're all over San Antonio. So there's one like 5 minutes away from my house, and there's a Walgreens like 2 minutes away from my house. And it's
Nice.
awesome. And so yeah, it's gonna be good. The only thing that sucks about moving with children is that now I have to find all new doctors.
Yeah.
With Lily, it's just a cardiologist and pediatrician, but Holly needs like she needs a pediatrician, a gastroenterologist. She needs like all her therapies. Like it's a lot. So it's gonna be a lot of work for me.
Yeah.
So I've had to, the past 2 weeks, I've had to deal with unpacking stuff, taking care of the kids, and then making phone calls and trying to get appointments. So Lily's going to be starting school on Tuesday, and she's going to school. She's been going 5 days a week.
Nice.
For like from like probably like 7 to like 3:30, which kills me because I've always been a stay-at-home mom. That's just who I am. And so like going back to that like mom guilt episode, like I'm like I have so much guilt because I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna think I'm abandoning her. But I mean, I need the time. Like I feel like I need that extra time to do all these things.
Yeah, you need that time right now just to get your life back in order.
Yeah.
You know, and then you're not like just like dumping her at some rando's house. Like you're giving her these amazing opportunities. You know, you're like sending her off on her little adventure. and she's going to be surrounded by other little friends just as excited as she is, and she's going to be getting all that social interaction, all that conversation skills and all that. And then she also has all these professionals and all these people who literally can just pour their entire selves into her, because like that's the only thing they have to worry about.
You didn't really talk too much about like your move with the girls. When you moved with them, how old were they?
So Molly, I think she was almost 2. She wasn't 2 yet. She was almost 2. So that means Clara would have been 4-ish. And so we had a U-Haul, and Mike drove the U-Haul, and I tailed him in our van. And I remember because we had like a 6-hour drive, so we stopped halfway. We went to my brother's house and stayed there,
Oh,
just because I knew with kids I wasn't going to want to be in the car for 6 hours all by myself, because Mike was driving the
I
truck.
did that. I just did that.
Yeah. And I was like, nah. And I remember that first 3 hours was just constant screaming.
Oh
And I
no.
couldn't pull over because I had to follow Mike. And
Oh.
nothing was wrong. They had been fed. No one was wet. No one had a diaper issue. Everyone was fine. I don't know what was going on, but I ended up having my headphones in, and I just had to crank it up, whatever I was listening to. I don't even remember. But by the time we stopped, Clara was like almost hyperventilating, and she was
No.
beet red, and
Oh no.
I was sweating because she had been screaming for 3 hours. The next day was much better. I don't know what was going on, because she was little, like she didn't understand, like, oh, we're moving. She was a little kid. We told them, okay, we're moving to Maine, and there's the ocean, and there's lighthouses, and
I
there's,
love Maine. Oh my god.
yeah, and I'm like, we're gonna get to see seagulls and all this stuff. And I told them we're going to move to a light blue house. The color of the house is light blue. Like I was trying to, because they hadn't seen it, and I'm like, it's a light blue house. I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
cool. We get in the car, we get here, and Claire's like, where's the lighthouse? Like she thought
Oh.
she like removed the word blue,
Oh, that's so cute.
and she thought we were
Oh.
moving to a lighthouse.
Oh.
And I was like confused. I'm like, it's not here. Like it's at the beach. And she's like, no, you said we're moving to a lighthouse. I'm like, oh, light blue house. Like
I
this is our
want to
house.
live in a lighthouse. Dang, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So like we took her to a lighthouse later. But that was fine. And it was funny because the people who moved out of here had kids the same age as our kids. And so, and they're like part of the school community and everything. So like they were here to help us move in. And the dad was laughing because he's like, half the stuff I moved out of this house, I feel like I'm moving it right back in. Like we had the same Melissa and Doug shopping cart. We had like the same dollhouse. We had like the same stuff.
Cute.
And he's like, this is like messing me up because like we
That's
just moved
like
to
a
this.
deja vu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from the move and the first road trip day being terrible, were they like, did they adjust pretty quickly to the new house?
Molly did, because Molly was like a baby. So she
Okay.
didn't care so much. I mean,
Yeah.
they went from splitting rooms, because we had Molly in her own room with her crib and Claro in her other room, to sharing a room, and they got bunk beds, and they thought that was super cool. I tried to make it exciting, and I
Yeah.
was like, we're gonna get bunk beds. I got them rainbow duvet colors. I tried to make it like as fun and as cool as I could. And
Yeah.
then we would go out exploring several times a week, because I didn't know anything about this town. So I'm like, well, let's figure out where the Target is. Let's figure out where the pool is. Let's figure out where the park is. And that was fun. But
Nice.
yeah, Clara, that first 2 months would just bloody murder scream at me, and it was almost like at the drop of a hat. Like there wasn't like any build up to it where I could
Oh.
see it coming. She would just all of a sudden start like this most minute thing, like, okay, we're all out of purple cups, we're gonna use pink cups today. Ah! Like just screaming so loud at me. And I remember just lots of conversations with my mom about just trying to get her to acclimate.
So if Molly was a baby, so Clara would have been like the same age that Lily is now,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So like 2, 3.
Yeah. She was around
Yeah, I
there.
feel like so. Yeah, Lily's been definitely like it's tantruming, which definitely like she's gonna be 3, so like it makes sense. But I think that it's and here she is.
Now
Hi,
it's your turn.
baby. Do you want to go say hi? Do you want to say hi?
Hi, Lily.
What her name is.
What's my name?
You want to ask her what her name is?
I'm next to Mommy.
Yeah.
There's also building blocks.
There's building blocks.
Yeah. She's like, this is mine.
You want to play with these? Okay. Yeah, so
cute.
she's like, I feel like it's like the normal behavior for this age, but then she's also kind of sad. Because I feel like then she'll get sad if I tell her she can't have something, and then she'll be like, but I just want to go home, and then like she'll be so. But anyway, I think you excited to start your new school, Lily? Yeah.
Yeah.
Any last words? Moving with kids?
I think, you can prep as much as you can. And I think it's good. It's a good idea to prep. It's a good idea to do the tips and tricks that you can find on Pinterest and whatever. Like, all that's good. But also just mentally prepare yourself just to like buckle down. And it's going to be hard the first couple months. And that's okay. It's a transition period, and just expect it, and just give yourself grace, give your kids more grace. Obviously you still want to keep teaching them that no, we can't scream, and we can't yell, no, we can't whatever, but also everyone just needs a little extra love right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
What is this?
It's called a ring light.